I hope you all are doing well, my dear friends. So the topic for today, which we are going to cover, is your high blood pressure circulatory system. As we know, the high blood pressure is nowadays are more common. The level of stress, as we all know that the heart is the most stressful organ of our body. Continuously working. If it is already working harder, if it has to work more harder, and the term leads to the high blood pressure. In the general way, you say hypertension. The word tension, and if you split it, hypertension. So it comes from the tension, it comes from the stress, it comes from the more exertion, more strenuous activities. So this is high blood pressure. What is the causes of high blood pressure? What is high blood pressure? What is ideal blood pressure? That's what we have to learn. What is the module for the poses, pranayamas, meditation for the high blood pressure? How these all 5 koshas can work or can affect, or the different practices, how does it affect our all the 5 layers of the body with high blood pressures? That's what we are going to learn today. So let's start with the high blood pressure that is under your circulatory system. So if we move to the next slide after this. So what is high blood pressure? First we have to learn about this. The blood pressure is the force of blood. The blood pressure which is flowing, the blood which is flowing, this is the force of blood against the walls of arteries. As we know, the blood is carrying by the arteries away from the heart and taking back to the heart by the veins. So blood pressure is the force of blood against the walls of arteries. So blood pressure is recorded as 2 number, the systolic pressure as the heart beats lub, dub, lub, dub. Over the diastolic pressure as the heart relaxes. So lub, dub. These sounds are there that comes under the systolic pressure when the heart beats, over the diastolic pressure as the heart releases or the relaxes between the beats. The measurement is written one above or before the other, with the systolic number on top and the diastolic number on the bottom. The systolic is on the top and the diastolic on the bottom. For example, the blood pressure measurement of 120/80 mm of Hg, that is millimeter of mercury, is expressed verbally as 120/80 or 120/80. So this is the ideal blood pressure, which we know that the 120/80 or 120/80. It may be changed, +10, -10 we considered sometime. Depends on the age, depends on the work which we are doing, the nature of job which we are doing, depends upon the, what we can say, the stress, how much we are taking. So different conditions of your body that can affect your blood pressure too. So it is the force of blood that against the wall of arteries. So it is measured on the systole over the diastole. The systole when the heart beats, and the diastole when the heart relaxes between the beats. And the ideal blood pressure is 120/80 mm, millimeter of mercury, my dear friends. So this is the introduction that what is blood pressure. So if we move to the next slide now. So high blood pressure introduction. So high blood pressure increases your chance or risk for getting heart disease. It increases of your chance for getting heart disease or kidney disease or having a stroke. So you could not say that heart or this high blood pressure only does affect my heart, because the blood is flowing everywhere, my dear friends. Right? The blood is flowing everywhere in your body, so it can affect these either organs of your body too. It is especially dangerous because it often has no warning sign. This blood pressure, when it affects the other organs or when it affects your heart, changing into the disease, it often has no sign or symptoms, regardless of race, age or gender. Regardless of age or gender, anyone can develop high blood pressure. So anyone can develop, regardless any age, gender or race. It is estimated that 1 in every 4 Americans, adults, has high blood pressure. So once high blood pressure develops, it usually lasts a lifetime because it increases the elasticity of your lungs. It increases the elasticity of your arteries, So it increases the elasticity of your arteries. So you cannot develop that strength again back as the artery becomes elastic once. So this is how the introduction to the high blood pressure, that it can getting your heart disease or it can affect the other organs too. So if we move to the next slide now. So blood pressure is measured in millimeters of mercury. Hypertension is when your blood pressure frequently goes over 140 by 90 mm of Hg. So frequently in the day, if you are checking your blood pressure twice or 3 times a day, and frequently it is getting over or in or around 140 by 90 mm of mercury, we call it high blood pressure. A patient is considered pre-hypertensive. In the top number of the blood, systolic pressure reading is 120 by 139 mm of Hg. And if the bottom number is over 80-89 mm of Hg on most measurements, we call the patient is considered is pre-hypertensive. And if you take some kind of preventions, changes in the diets, exercises, we can prevent to get into the high blood pressure. If you have pre-hypertension, you are likely to develop high blood pressure at some point unless you make lifestyle changes to lower your blood pressure to normal. So if it is we coming into the pre-hypertensive state, guys, then there will be the chance also if we changes the lifestyle, we can lower down your blood pressure too. So this is the definition. When it goes over 140 to 90 mm of mercury frequently in the day during measurement, we consider it high blood pressure. When it is 120 by 139 mm of Hg and the number is 139 and in the lower one is 80 to 89. Suppose we consider 139 by 89, pre-hypertensive. So some changes can change and you can get back to the normal blood pressure. So move to the next slide after this. So medical term for high blood pressure is hypertension. What we call it? Hypertension. So where this tension is increasing? Generally it is increasing in your blood pressure, that is increasing in your arteries over your heart in the beginning. But if there is no focus, no awareness, then it can increase the pressure on your other organs too. So high blood pressure is dangerous because it makes the heart works too hard. As we have discussed already, heart is already working harder every day. This is the organ which never stops, continuously working from the day you are born. Too hard and contributes to atherosclerosis. When it has to work too much harder, it contributes to atherosclerosis, hardening of the arteries. The arteries becomes more hardened. It increases the risk of heart disease and stroke, which are the first and third leading causes of death among Americans. So high blood pressure also can result in other conditions such as congestive heart failure, CHF, kidney disease and blindness also. If your blood pressure is between 120 by 80 and 139 by 89, then you have pre-hypertension. So normal we say 120 by 80 mmHg and 139 by 89, then you have pre-hypertension. So it can cause some worse effect on your other organs and becomes the condition to atherosclerosis. The atherosclerosis, hardening of the artery. Artery becomes more hardened here. So moving to the next slide after this hypertension. So you can see blood flow. This is the normal artery. The blood is flowing easily, right? But due to artery narrowed by atherosclerosis, when the artery becomes hardened, there is a plaque formation. When this plaque formation is there, so you can see it reduces the flow of the blood also. Right? So blood is not flowing with their same speed. It going, stop, then narrowing here, then it becomes a barrier in the normal passageway of the blood. So artery narrowed by atherosclerosis here, plaque formation is there. This plaque formation that reduce the flow of blood and act as a barrier to stop the normal blood flow. So this is the normal artery, the normal blood flow. This is the artery narrowed by atherosclerosis, and there is a plaque formation. So then move to the next one. So blood clot blocks the artery. Sometimes what happens with this problem, this cholesterol plaque build up. As we say, high level of cholesterol. So this cholesterol plaque build up here, and blood clot blocks the artery. So there is clotting of the blood, and that blocks the artery, that reduces the blood flow, and the blood cannot flow to the next part, or it flow not with the normal speed. The speed becomes more adherent here. So you can see here, guys, how the cholesterol plaque build up there, and it blood clot, and it blocks the whole artery. So moving to the next slide after this. So symptoms of hypertension, so many symptoms are there. Pain experienced at the back of the head and neck on waking up, which soon disappears. So as you experience the pain, as you wake up, you pain at the back of the head, and it soon disappears. It creates the pressure on your vertebral artery for a while as you wake up directly from the bed. After you move the neck and you get up, the pressure from the vertebral artery releases, which takes the blood to your brain. As the pressure releases, the flow of the blood becomes normal. Then we have a dizziness. We feel the dizziness when you are just going or taking the steps down, or in the normal walking also you feel dizzy sometime. You feel the palpitations always, right? You feel these palpitations always. Feel the pain around your heart pain. Frequent urination is there, right? The frequent urination. You feel nervous tension, fatigue all over the body, and difficulty in breathing, right? If you have seen the high blood pressure clients, mostly mouth breathers. Mostly they are mouth breathers because the blood circulation is getting more faster. It's moving more higher. Muscles need more oxygen. If you cannot get the rest properly to the respiratory system and the cardiovascular system, frequent breathing is there. So difficulty in breathing also. So moving to the next slide after the symptoms of hypertension, the causes. The main cause nowadays, that is stress and hectic lifestyle. The stress and hectic lifestyle, not too much movement. You have seen people go to the cardios, to go for the cardio sessions, to train their heart muscles, to make them more stronger, so you can work for the longer duration of time. You can strengthen around the system around your heart. The muscles are big, so cardio system becomes normal and they can work normally easy. So vitation of vata. The vitation of vata, we can see signs and symptoms of dearrangement of vata dosha, mainly that of Vyana Vayu in high blood pressure. So that Vyana Vayu get disturbed, or mainly that in high blood pressure, that we can see the sign and symptom of the dearrangement of this all difficulty in breathing, right? This is what we say dizziness, or we can say like pain, fatigue. These all are the signs and symptoms of the Vyana Vayu in high blood pressure. Smoking and an excessive intake of intoxicants also can increase the chances of your high blood pressure. It increases the plaque formation. The chances is there that formation of the plaque over there, so then it clots the blood over there and disturbance the passageway of blood supply. Hardening of the arteries. obesity, metabolic disorders, excessive intake of common table salt can increase the blood pressure also, and overloading of fast foods. Because the nutrition has an important role, not only the digestive organs, also for your cardiorespiratory organs too. So moving to the next slide after the causes of hypertension. Now how we can say how the effect of high blood pressure on your body. You cannot say that only the blood pressure affect your heart or blood vessels. It affects, if you have heard about it, that sometime due to high blood pressure that affect your brain also. Clot formation, stroke, paralysis. Right? Sometimes the stroke can be absorbed or cleaned out by the medicines, but sometimes we need the surgery also if the clot is too big. So it basically more frequently you have seen the cases that we have discussed, there is no sign and symptoms. If the person has high blood pressure, it can affect the other organs by not giving you any sign of symptoms, no sign of symptoms, and it affect or target directly the different organs of the body too. So move to the next slide for the brain. So effect on brain. So as we have discussed, high blood pressure is the most important risk factor for a stroke. Sometimes the blood circulation pumps. It pumps with a high speed to the brain and clot. So high blood pressure is the most important risk factor for stroke. Very high pressure can cause a break in a weakened blood vessels. So if the blood vessel is weak, which is going to the brain, if it is weak, it can break, which then bleeds in the brain. That bleeds in the brain, this can cause a stroke. If a blood clot blocks one of the narrowed arteries, it can also cause a stroke. If the blood clot block any one of the narrowed artery, it can also cause a stroke. Because then there will be no proper blood circulation to the different part of the brain. As we have talked about that whatever we are controlling, right now I am talking, you are listening to me, if this powerhouse is not working properly, right? If this powerhouse is not working properly, it affects, right? It completely affects the processing. Not only with the brain function, the other body functions too. So if you have seen that stroke person, problem is not in the muscles. When the paralysis is there, they cannot lift up the hands. Motor sensation is not there, sensory sensation is not there also. Right? No motor movements, no sensory stimulation is there too. Problem with eating the food, right? Problem with balancing also, person laying down only. Because the powerhouse directly affect the powerhouse over there without giving you any sign or symptoms. So that how it affects on your brain, that it weakened. If the weakened artery is there, it can break that weakened artery. Bleeds, which then bleeds in the brain, can cause a stroke. Or if the artery is already bleed or narrow, it can also form the clot and can also cause a stroke there. So if we move to the next slide after the effect on brain, how it affect on heart now, see. So high blood pressure is a major risk factor for heart attack. The artery brings oxygen carrying blood to the heart muscles. What the artery bring? Oxygen carrying blood to the heart muscle. If the heart cannot get enough oxygen, chest pain, which also known as angina. So contraction is there, no relaxation, and the heart is not getting enough oxygen. Chest pain, because of enough oxygen, known as angina, can occur. If the flow of blood is blocked, a heart attack result. Right? As the flow of the blood, if the blood could not get back to the heart with the same speed at the same time, heart attacks result. So that is angina, the pain occurs angina, and when the flow of the blood is blocked or it comes with a reduced speed, heart attack result over there. That's why we call the heart attack. So it attacks the heart because of not taking enough oxygen to the heart muscles, or flow of the blood is affected or blocked, heart attack result. So it also affect on your heart, the high blood pressure. So move to the next slide after that. Kidney damage, how it damages the kidneys. The kidney acts as a filter to rid of the body. The kidney, as we know, the main function of the kidney is purify the blood, right? For purification of the blood and the formation of urine. So the two major functions, purification of the blood and the formation of urine, so which takes all the toxins away from the body by the urinal way. So kidney act as a filter to rid the body of waste. So take the waste out of the body. Over time, high blood pressure, right? Over time, high blood pressure can narrow and thicken the blood vessels of the kidneys. It can narrow and thicken the blood vessels of the kidneys. Then the kidneys filter less fluid because it is narrowing and thickening, less blood comes there. So then the functioning of the kidney affects. So it filters the less fluid and waste build up in the blood. What will happen? Waste build up in the blood. So the kidney may fail altogether because when more waste is building up, so the kidney has to function more harder. Kidney has to function more harder to get rid of the waste out of the body. But now the waste which is building is too much rather than the normal aspect. So the kidney may fail altogether. That we call the renal failure or the kidney failure. So that how it affects the kidney also, that over time high blood pressure can narrow and thicken the blood vessel of the kidneys around this area. So kidney filter less fluid and more waste build up in the body. So kidney has to function more harder to get rid out of the waste from the body, and then it may fail altogether. So that how does it affect your kidneys also. So we move to the next slide after the arteries. As you see, the arteries is narrower than the veins. The artery is thicker than the veins, So arteries are more thicker than the veins. So as people get older, arteries throughout the body harden, right? As we get older, arteries throughout the body becomes hardened, especially those in the heart, brain and kidneys. Especially those in the heart, brain and kidneys, because it takes the more blood supply around that areas. So high blood pressure is associated with this stiffer arteries. This high blood pressure is associated with our stiffer arteries. As we have discussed, the artery becomes thickened. Artery becomes hard due to overtime blood pressure. So it is associated with this stiffer arteries. This in turn causes the heart and kidneys to work harder. So this in turn causes the heart and kidneys to work more harder. So maybe the heart attack or maybe the kidney damage may get together. So maybe either one of the sign and symptoms, or maybe sometime both organs are affected. So that how this artery, as we know, as we get older, artery becomes more stiffer. But when the high blood pressure is associated with this, it becomes more stiffer before the old age also. And this in turn causes the heart and kidneys to work more harder. So that how it affects the arteries too. So moving to the next slide now. So causes high blood pressure. Causes may include here narrowing of the arteries, a greater than normal volume of blood, or the heart beating faster. So when the narrowing of the arteries are greater than normal volume of blood, or the heart beating faster or more forcefully than it should, any of these conditions will cause. So any of these conditions will cause increased pressure against the artery walls. So high blood pressure might also be caused by another medical problems. Most of the time the cause is not known. right? So most of the time, the cause is not known because the cause may include narrowing of the arteries, a greater than normal volume of blood, or the heart beating faster or more forcefully. Any of these conditions will cause increased pressure. You can see habitual alcohol use, because when you are getting the alcohol, then what will happen? Kidney has to function more harder, liver has to function more harder, and person get more hypertensive. So what will happen after some time? The heart has to function more harder too. So maybe the chances of hypertension. Excessive sodium salt in your diet, using of excessive table salt in your diet, obesity, anxiety or stress, your arteriosclerosis, coarctation of the aorta of your artery, pain, some renal artery stenosis, diabetes, drugs such as alcohol toxicity or cocaine, and some renal disease. So this may causes the high blood pressure also. So moving to the next slide after this. Diagnosis, how we diagnose? You can find out if you have high blood pressure by having your blood pressure checked regularly. That checking of the blood pressure or the monitoring of the blood pressure regularly. Most doctors will diagnose a person with high blood pressure on the basis of 2 or more readings. On the basis of 2 or more readings taken on several occasions. A consistent blood pressure reading of 140/90 or higher is considered high blood pressure. That is another term for hypertension. So we take this reading in the different times, right? On the several occasions, like in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, or in the morning, in the daytime, or in the afternoon. So then if it is coming above the 140/90 or higher is considered high blood pressure, another term for hypertension, how we diagnose by measuring the blood pressure by the machine. So moving to the next after this. So maintaining a healthy weight that cannot cause any damage to your blood vessels, pressures on your arteries or the veins, or that can affect your metabolism of your body. Being physically active, following a healthy eating plan that emphasizes fruits, vegetables and low-fat dairy foods. The low-fat dairy foods, not high-fat, that includes the cholesterol in your body. Choosing and preparing food with less salt and sodium also. And if you drink alcoholic beverages, drinking in moderation. In this section you will learn more about healthy lifestyle, habit for preventing and controlling high blood pressure, which is we are going to discuss with you next. So what we have discussed, that healthy lifestyle, a good meal plan, the type of food, right? What seasonable food we are eating, how much active we are during our lifestyle, how much exercises we are doing. So food and lifestyle has a main important role in your high blood pressure too. So move to the next slide after this. The integrated treatment of high blood pressure, if we talk about. As we have talked about the high blood pressure, so we have to work on the koshas, the 5 main koshas of the body. As you see, the first kosha that we call the Annamaya kosha, that in relation to your asanas, the physical body, the kriyas, the techniques, cleansing technique, the diet with the food, and some sukshma vyama, that is your joint releasing exercises, and bandhas, that is your law. Then for second we call the pranayama kosha. The pranamaya kosha, breathing exercise and pranayama bandha. So breathing exercises here we learn, and pranamaya bandha. Manomaya kosha, we have to learn here about the relaxation technique, meditation and some gestures. That is your mudras. Vijanamaya kosha, that is about your wisdom, Upanishadic wisdom about the Vedas and all the stuff like this, more counseling and happiness analysis. Anandamaya, the Karma Yoga and Samadhi, the state of bliss. So how it works, this the integrated treatment of high blood pressure. We don't have to work only on your Annamaya Kosha, that is your physical body, food, lifestyle, and with the joint movement and the some bandhas or the locks. We have to balance our all the 5 koshas. Then only the body find the stability and balance in your life. So moving to the next slide for the Annamaya Kosha first. So treatment at physical level. Technique, Annamaya Kosha, medicines or the therapies which we are using, asanas, kriyas, diet, sukshma vyama, some simple exercises for your joints and glands, and bandhas, the locks. So during any exercise, the strain on muscle increases, right? What exercise we are doing, during any exercise, the strain on muscle increases. So the requirement for blood, and oxygen increases too. When I'm doing movement, if I'm not doing movement, blood is flowing, but not flowing with the same speed, not with the healthy speed. But when I'm doing some movement and during an exercise, we are giving some strain on the muscles, the requirement for blood and oxygen both has increases. But in yoga asanas, the requirement goes down. If we're talking about some gentle practices, some static practices, the requirement goes down as there are no strain and every muscle is relaxed. We are not putting too much stress. When we are running, when we are jogging, when we are weightlifting, it is extra stress which we are giving to the body. In the yoga asanas, there are no strains and every muscle is relaxed. So the requirement for blood and oxygen goes down. Right? The requirement for blood and oxygen goes down in static practices I'm talking about, not some dynamic postures. Like flow yoga, vinyasa yoga, and ashtanga yoga. In this also it increases. So this also reduces the strain on mind. The mind also became stable and focused. Also because of twist and stretch posture, the functioning of endocrine glands, which is taking the chemicals to your whole body, hormones, your chemical messenger. So the functioning of endocrine glands, your digestive organs, heart and other organs improve because the blood circulates everywhere without the strain on the heart, without the strain on your heart and the arteries. To achieve this, even simple yoga postures are helpful. The simple yoga asanas are helpful. So how it works, my dear friends, on the physical level, that strain on the muscle increases in general exercises if we talk about. But in the yoga asana, the demands goes down and every muscle is relaxed. So this reduces the strain on the mind and mind becomes easily stable and focused to practice. And that affects the functioning, improves the functioning of your digestive organs, your endocrine glands and the whole body. So that's how it works on the Annamaya Kosha. So moving to the next slide after this, the Pranayama Kosha, the treatment at energy level or the prana level. So technique, Pranamaya Kosha, breathing exercises, Pranamaya Bandha, Pana Vistar and Nadi Shodhyan, Pranayama practice, which is responsible, equal distribution of Vyana, that is the Vayu, by the disturbance which that high blood pressure affect throughout the body. So pranayama, when you're talking about this pranayama, right? The pranayama, the breathing exercise technique, reduces the need of oxygen if we are practicing it regularly every day. Because then our breath functioning, the flow of the breath is normal. So it reduces the functioning, it reduces the need of oxygen. So also the production of carbon dioxide. Also the production of carbon dioxide. So the respiration rate reduces. It's not becomes more higher if it is imbalanced. When it is balanced, it reduces, so respiration rate reduces also. In various breathing exercise techniques, Ujjayi balances the pranic flow of energy in the body. The Ujjayi breathing that balances the pranic flow of the energy in the body. It affects carotid sinus, right? The carotid sinus, which helps reduce blood pressure, which helps to reduce blood pressure when the flow of oxygen becomes normal there. So then the flow of the oxygen can easily reaches to the heart from the carotid sinus. So then the demand of the blood becomes reduced and the blood pressure becomes normal there. So Nadi Shodhan Pranayama controls the pranic flow also. It balances the energy on the both sides. But people suffering from BP should not practice retention of breath, as we have already discussed, that the people suffering from blood pressure, high blood pressure, should not practice kumbhaka, that is retention of breath, but only inhalation and exhalation. So normal breathing pattern, because already the heart is functioning harder in the high blood pressure. If we are holding it, it has to function more harder to give more blood circulation and more oxygen to the respiratory muscles. So this is how it works at the prana level, the pranamaya kosha, and how these pranayama exercises affect your system of the body. If we move to the next slide now, the treatment at mind level, that is manomaya kosha, some relaxation techniques, meditation, mudra, that is gestures, yogic lifestyle. And see, the laughing is also there, guys, the laughter. So never forget to laugh. Take a little pause and laugh. Learn how to laugh without a reason. So Manamaya Kosha techniques are the direct method to slow down the speed of thoughts and to relax the whole body and mind. This kind of techniques, like some relaxation techniques, guided relaxation, some different meditation which bring your attention back to yourself, reduces the functioning of your alpha wave, beta waves, theta waves in your brain, which carrying the impulses. It becomes more silent, more balanced. So Manamaya Kosha technique, direct method to slow down the speed of thought, relax the whole body and mind. How this will affect? This increases the stability of mind and mental activities are also controlled. So more attention brings, more awareness brings to yourself. Remove disturbance at prana level, so energy can flow easily everywhere in the body. Remove the root cause of high blood pressure by remove the stress. So it remove the root cause of the high blood pressure by remove stress. So it work basically on your stress level, this Vijnanamaya Kosha treatment and mind level. So here you can feel some retention techniques, Om chanting, devotions, right? Some satsang, kirtans, chantings you can do, some self-meditation you can do, some relaxation technique you can practice. So that's how it works on your high blood pressure. So moving to the next slide after this, treatment at higher mind level, higher, right? That is, we come to the Vijnanamaya Kosha, counseling, happiness analysis. So at this level, you need to do systematic analysis. So it's not only just to be in the state of fear, to be in the state of anxiety. We must have to take a pause and talk to yourself, what is the thing which is worrying for me to not get out from this situation. I have to analyze in which company I am feeling more happy and in which company of the people or the society of the people I am feeling more stress. So you are only that when you stop, when you pause, you can think about that which I have to choose now. So analyze why you fear and get stress, and analyze your true nature of happiness, not the fake, not the artificial. So must go through the true nature of happiness, where you feel true happiness, stay there, enjoy that moment, enjoy that company. But analyzation is must necessary, then only it works on the higher mind level. So you need to do systematic analysis with the system way. If you are moving to the next slide, so treatment at super conscious level, that is Anandamaya Kosha, bliss, Karma Yoga. So the art of working in relaxation, whatever we are working, when the body and mind is relaxed, then only you can work easily. Then only it doesn't affect to your body. Then only this will not lead to the high blood pressure. Work with an attitude of offering to divine. Whatever I am doing, I'm not doing for myself. I'm not doing for my other people of my family. Whatever I am doing, I am just offering to divine. When we offer to the divine, it comes back us also in a positive way if we are working in a positive way too. So always be positive there. Working without worrying about the result of the action. Just work, do your work, focus, concentrate. Don't worry about the result of the action, whether it is true or false, right or wrong. Just work with the dedication and with commitment. Recognize that your basic stuff is made from happiness, right? Basic stuff of the humans, and yours is made up of happiness. So try to be happy at most of the time. Most of the time, try to find out the reasons to laugh, to become happy, enjoy the company of the people. Spend more time where you feel happiness, the true happiness, not the artificial one. So this is the state of bliss. When you laugh, you dance, you meditate, you enjoy, you are working at your super conscious level and leads to bliss or samadhi. So moving to next slide after this. So program for high blood pressure, level 1, day 1, level 2, day 2, level 3, high blood pressure with other disease in combination, right? When there is high blood pressure and other diseases also there, like diabetes or like thyroid with high blood pressure, then level 3. Initial prayer with the mantra, as you start the class basically with your hatha. Sukshama Vyama, that is the joint releasing exercises which you can do, neck movement, joint movement, upper body and the lower body. Surya Namaskara, sun salutation. Then come to your poses, asanas. Then pranayama, some breathing exercises according to the level of student. Then some gestures, mudras. Then bandhas is your locks. Kriya, that is your cleansing techniques. Relaxation and meditation. Relaxation and meditation. So level 1, day 1, level 2, day 2, level 3, high blood pressure with other diseases in combination. This is the program for high blood pressure. So you can follow this or you can maintain by yourself. You can take up and down according to the level of student too. But basically we have followed this protocol. So moving to the next slide after this. So day 1, 60 minutes. But it needs basically breaks, intervals, 1 minute or 30 seconds, 60 seconds break in between the poses, in between the practices, up to 2 minutes. Initial prayer with mantra, joint releasing exercises, asanas that we can use, that is your Tadasana, the mountain pose, Prasarita Padottanasana we have to use to lower down the heart rate easily. Ardhakati Chakrasana, that is your moon pose. Chakrasana, that is your wheel pose which we can do, the half wheel. Adho Mukha Asana. Adho Mukha Asana you can do. Instant relaxation then after this. A little bit pause, some relaxation techniques, just laying down or doing some toe movements over there. Then Viparit Karni, legs towards the wall. Then instant relaxation technique you can use. Then little bit rolling on the side to side. Then Janu Sirsasana you can use. Then you have to practice Ardha Matsyendrasana, the Lord of Sage pose. Vajrasana, this is you can use on your heels. Supta Vajrasana, supine, thunderbolt. Udra Karksh Asana you can do. Then after that we come to some prone lying asanas like cobra pose. After that child pose, then instant relaxation. So this practice maybe you can use in the beginning, not the 60 minutes, start with 30 minutes. But combination, we can use 3 to 4 postures from here in the beginning, then 2 breathing exercises we can use like Sitali Sitkari for 5 minutes, these cooling pranayamas. Nadi Shodhan, rather than 5 minutes in the beginning, you can reduce. If you are planning for 30 minutes class, then we can take it for 1 minutes and 2 minutes holding, 1 to 2 minutes holding for 4 postures. Then relaxation techniques we can use. Then 4 posture you can go with the next day, and 2 or 3 pranayamas we can take next day. Just reduce the timing or the intensity of the posture and the other techniques. So basically, ideally, when we work for 60 minutes, then Sitali 5 minutes, Nadi Shodhan, Anulom Vilom is for your 5 minutes, Brahmari, Humming Bee for 5 minutes, and 5 minutes we can work on the mudras. That Kaki mudra is there. Then bandhas, Jalandhar bandha we can use, that is your throat lock for 5 minutes. But initially it's difficult, so take to the 1 minutes to 2 minutes with progression. Then relaxation techniques, deep relaxation techniques you can use like your yogic nidra is there, guided meditations are there. Then meditation, Om meditation or cyclic meditation which we can do. Then ending prayer. After that, we can use some kriyas like Jalaneti with the water, that all kind of cleansing technique which don't force too much stress on your heart. These type of practices which we can use with the level 1, day 1. Initially, if 20 minutes people can do, moderate the timing and the practice and change and take according the suitability to your students. So moving to the next slide. Level 2, day 2. Time 60 minutes, same. Initial prayer with the mantra, joint releasing exercise, sun salutation. Then Adho Tadasana, first basic. Adho Mukha Swanasana here. Uttita Trikonasana. Then Garudasana, now balancing poses also there with stability. Uttan Padasana. Then instead relaxation you can do little bit for a while. Then pluff pose, Halasana. Then relaxation. After that, child pose you can do. Rolling, side to side, forward stretch, backward stretch. Ardha Mastendra Asana, which we can use. Supta Vajrasana, supine, thunderbolt. Udra Karksha Asana, then prone lying, Bhujangasana, child pose. Then we can use some supine twist here, side to side twisting poses which we can use. Pranayama start with the Sitli Sitkari, then Chandra one, because sun is more for your hypersensitivity, right? Which we can say that it works for your sympathetic nervous system, so it is for fight or flight. Here we have to balance, so we go with the Chandra Bhedi, that is your moon pranayama. Brahmari, the humming bee, then mudra, Kaki mudra we can use for 5 minutes. Vedha, bandhas we can use Jalandhar bandha, and then slowly with the second module, with the second day we can use the Mula bandha also, that is your abdominal or the abdominal lock also which we can use. Then relaxation, yoga nidra for 50 minutes, meditation, cyclic meditation which we can use here, then the ending prayer and the kriya with the Jalaneti. So this is the module how we have to follow. Level 1, day 1, and after this one is for the level 2, day 2, time 60 minutes. According to the level of student, you can increase or decrease the time too. Go to the next slide, the level 3, day 3. Can you go slightly back with the back slide? So level 2, day 2. And with the level 3, what we can do is we can combine both of the practices and reducing the time little bit if there is a disease with the other combination. So half of the time, 30 minutes we can do if the high blood pressure with the other practices are there, like 30 minutes we have to do. And what we have to do, we have to take some poses from here and some poses from the second day practices. So if we move to the next slide after this, so basic principles to select technique. To increase physical activity through asana, bandha or kriya. To increase the physical activity, so we use the muscles or the system of the body too. To balance vyana, that is the vayu, by meditation, relaxation and pranayama. to balance your Vyana Vayu, the flow of energy, by meditation, relaxation and pranayama to bring balance into the Vyana. To remove stress and after effect of stress too. Right? To remove stress and after effects of stress. To remove complications of high blood pressure that we have discussed about, that sometimes it leads to the strokes, kidney damage and misfunctioning of the arteries. Increase cleaning and detoxification and increase disease resistance in the body by asana, pranayama, mudra, bandha and kriya. So these all the therapies or the medicines of yoga, the limbs of yoga, increase cleansing and detoxification also. It balances your nervous and endocrine system. To correct wrong lifestyle by yogic counseling of yama and niyama, when we follow the principle of and different types of yama and niyama, so it correct the wrong lifestyle by yogic counseling. To reduce weight loss, which in turn reduces blood pressure. So how much weight according to your height, it is ideal. If it is too much, it creates pressure on your arteries too. To remove rigidity of arteries by asana and stretching. So arteries not become more rigid and thick. When it's stretched properly, blood flow is going properly, it can maintain their normal structure. So moving to the next slide after this. General advice to begin yoga for high blood pressure. So before you begin exercising, as we know, talk with your doctor. Your doctor may check your heart and your feet to be sure have no special problems. It will check your heart and feet to be sure have no special problems. If you have high blood pressure or eye problems, some exercise like weightlifting may not be safe. Right? Weightlifting may not be safe. It can create extra pressure on your arteries, increases the demand of oxygen and blood to the heart, and maybe some other symptoms can also occur. So your yoga care team can help you find safe yoga techniques. So try to do yoga almost every day for a total of, as I have talked about you guys, initially 30, slowly 45, then 60 minutes. If you have not exercised lately, begin slowly, start with 5 to 10 minutes and then add more time or exercise for 10 minutes 3 times a day. So we can break into the intervals 3 times a day, 10 minutes. 3 times a day, 20 minutes, as we increase our efficiency of exercises or yoga practices. So moving to the next one after this. Asana and high blood pressure, how it affect. During any exercise, the strain on muscle increases, requirement for blood and oxygen increases, but yoga asanas, it goes down, no stress, muscle is relaxed, also reduces the strain on mind, becomes stable and focused. Also because of twisting and stretched posture, functioning of endocrine, digestive organs, heart and other organ improves. So to achieve this, even simple yoga asanas are helpful. So no need to get into more specific asana practice or more dynamic asana practices. So it's best for himself to how it works with the asana and high blood pressure. So moving to the next slide after this. Effect of pranayama on high blood pressure. This control of breath, breathing and blood circulation system, heart have close relation between them. The control of breath, as that's why we say cardiorespiratory system. So control of breath, breathing and blood circulation, heart have close relation between them. These are dependent on mental activities also. If mental strain increases, breathing rate is affected also. In pranayama, the breathing is controlled and the rate is reduced, which reduces the strain on heart and also the rate. Even simple breathing exercise like deep breathing, quiet breathing help reduce the mental stresses and strains. That's why people, when he or she is in the stress, sometime what you say, breathe, focus on the breath, deep breathing, breathe properly. So as we are taking more balance on the breath, so it can make balance and reduces the strain on the heart also, and also reduces the heart rate. So breathing helps reduce the mental stress and strains. Also the pranic force in the body is balanced with the regular practice of pranayama. So the force, the energy flows balance, so there will be no more chances to be get disoriented from your task. So the regular practice restore the physical and mental balance, and some pranayama technique affect and functioning of the nervous system, which again help restore the balance. So when the tension on the nervous system, it brings the tension on your physical mind, mental body, physical body, physiological body, and then the metabolism effect. So move to the next slide after this. Yogic diet, avoid meat, eggs and salt, reduce protein intake, follow the following vegetarian diet like vegetables, garlic, lemon, parsley, fruits, Indian gooseberry, grapefruit, watermelon, dairy, milk, cottage cheese, clarified butters. Coffee, which contains caffeine, enhances the action of adrenaline and non-adrenaline, and both are important in increasing blood pressure levels. So avoid this, right? Not too much coffee over there. Replace the coffee with the green tea. Limited sodium in the diet, so not too much amount of table salt in your diets. Cigarette smokers tend to have high blood pressure. There is a chances of the plaque formation more. Nicotine increases the resting heart rate and increases the release of adrenaline. So that nicotine increases the resting heart rate also and increases the chances to release of the adrenaline, which is fight or flight over there. So this is how yogic diet affects, which we have to avoid, what we have to take. So moving to the next after the yogic diet. So safety tips during asana practice. Stop yoga exercising and seek immediate medical care if you are experiencing any warning sign during exercise. Stop at the time and take rest or take immediate medical care if you experience any warning sign during exercise, including chest pain or tightness, dizziness or faintness, pain in an arm or your jaw. Any pain you are feeling on the left side or any pain on your jaw, stop. Severe shortness of the breath, any irregular heartbeat, or excessive fatigue if you are using. If you are feeling this excessive fatigue, irregular heartbeat, severe shortness of the breath, like any posture you do and you feel, hyperventilation happens. Quickly call to the doctor or take an immediate medical care. So after we have to practice, and safety tips during yoga asana practice, this might have to be considered during your yoga practices. So then moving to the next after this safety. So probable mechanism of effect yoga on hypertension. It is achieved by practicing yoga which relieves hypertension could be as follows. So blood pressure increases by sustained activation of fight and flight response of the body when it comes to the stress. Yoga effectively switches off the response and brings adrenaline level down, thus reducing blood pressure. So this postulate can be backed by a good amount of evidences. The chronic stress induced sustained muscular contraction reduces lumen diameter of blood vessels, reduces the lumen diameter of your blood vessels in the muscles. It in turn increases blood flow pressure, just as compressing a water pipe increases force of water flow. As you compress the water pipe, it increases the water flow. Stretching of muscles and relaxing the same as done in yogic exercise revert this effect. So by compressing it releasing, by stretching and relaxation, so it reverts that effect and the blood flow becomes normal into this lumen. Sustained muscular contraction sends hostile signals to the brain. So that sustain, when we maintain that muscle contraction, it sends hostile signals to the brain, alerting it to the impending danger. So it alert into the impending danger. This secretes stress hormone and neurotransmitter associated with the stress and high blood pressure. So this does secrete your stress hormone and neurotransmitter associated with the stress and high BP. So this possibly reverted by the constant practice of yoga. When there's laughter, there is a meditation, there are asana stretchings are there, right? Increases the muscle flexibility, flowing of the prana balance, detoxification of the body. So platelet agreeability and thickness of blood increases inappropriately, tend to produce a hypercoagulable state of blood. What it produce? A hypercoagulable state of blood and increase blood pressure in turn. So it is proven during preliminary studies that regular practice of yoga reduces platelet aggregation also and brings your immune system more healthy and prevents yourself from the diseases. So moving to the next slide after this. So certain posture in yoga do offer controlled pressure on kidneys, like when you're doing Mandukasana, the frog pose, any backward bending we are doing, forward bending it stretches, and the adrenals thereby possibly regulating blood supply to these vital organs. So brings a vital blood supply to the vital organs, which mainly regulate blood pressure through secretion of renin, that is the hormone, angiotensin and adrenaline also. So it regulates the blood pressure through the secretion of this renin, angiotensin and adrenaline, etc. So regular yoga may reduce stress hormone, that is your aldosterone, which is a potent vasoconstrictor which contract blood vessel, thus increasing blood pressure. So when the blood vessel is contracting, vasoconstricting is there, it increases the blood pressure always. Evidences have noted this fact. So preliminary studies also point out to the fact that regular yoga practice may reduce vasopressin, another stress hormone. Right? It reduces the vasopressin, another stress hormone secreted by pituitary gland, that is our master gland of the body, situated in the brain. So vasopressin increases blood pressure by vascular contraction also. Right? The vasopressin also increasing the blood pressure by vasoconstriction. So the medulla oblongata in the brain has the respiratory center and the vasomotor center, which regulates the blood pressure side to side. Fast breathing in a stressful situation tends to overspill the electric signal over vasomotor center. So thus increasing blood pressure. Yoga and pranayama in turn regulate breathing and hence may reduce the signal overspill from respiratory center and thus reducing blood pressure. So this medulla oblongata in the brain has the respiratory center and the vasomotor center, which regulates the blood pressure side to side. So if fast breathing in stressful situation, it overspills that electric signal over vasomotor center. So that increasing the blood pressure. So yoga and pranayama helps to regulate breathing and maintain the normal blood pressure and reduce the blood pressure to the normal level. So this is how this work on the different systems of the body and to the high blood pressure. So thank you so much. I hope guys this must be clear to you. Whatever we have discussed, the practices, asanas for the yoga, causes, symptoms. So nowadays, because of the hectic lifestyle, people are running. So we don't need hypertension. We don't need even tension also. Not the hyper, not the tension. So enjoy the life fully, right? Be happy, be healthy. Practice some laughter, practice some dancing. Spend time with the nature. Spend more time where you feel more good energy, good vibrations. Be close to your near and dear ones and stay fit, stay healthy and take care of yourself. Till then, namaste.